Welcome to Anastasia, and today we are going to hem jeans. So you've probably seen all these crazy hacks out there for hemming jeans. Well, today we are literally just going to hem some jeans the traditional way. Fun fact, in college I worked at the buckle hemming jeans. I have hemmed thousands of pairs of jeans. So you're in good hands. First thing you need to do is try on your pants, and I want you to fold them up once as short as you would like them, wherever you want your new hem. And we don't have to put a ton of pins in it, but I want you to put at least 1 or 2 pins in it. It could be a regular pin or it could be a safety pin. And you don't have to do the front and the back because we're going to take it off evenly around the entire bottom of the pant. Once you have it pinned, take off your pants and we're going to chalk the bottom edge here. Now this is not where we're going to be cutting, but I want you to go ahead and chalk that bottom edge. And now we're gonna flip the pants inside out. And if you don't have any chalk, you could just put another pin down at the very bottom fold of the pants. My pant leg is turned inside out and you can see that chalk mark there. Next, we're going to measure from the bottom of the pants to the chalk mark and see what that distance is. I'm getting 1 3/4 inches. So what I wanna do is draw a nice straight line, 1 3/4 inches up parallel with the hem of my pants. Real quick, before we continue, if you're enjoying Sewing Anastasia, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to learn more about sewing, make sure you check out my online and in-person courses. There's links down below for everything. Now let's get back to hemming these jeans. So I'm going to measure from the bottom of the pants up and put a chalk mark at one end. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And if you've hemmed a lot of pants, you'll notice that sometimes the hems are not even. So this is an opportunity for you to even out the hem. You can see on this side, it looks a little longer than this side, but we have accounted for that and we're gonna get that even now. So I'm going to match these 2 lines here. There we go. Now this is not my cut line. So now what we need to do is figure out how much do we need to leave for a hem allowance, because this is where I want my pants to be hemmed later on. So I want you to measure the original hem in your pants. So mine is 1/2 inch here. And this is a roll hem. So that means we need to double whatever you have here, which would be 1 inch. So I'm going to measure 1 inch down from this line. And I'm measuring 1 inch down because we have a 1/2 inch rolled hem. So it's going to get rolled up 1/2 inch and then another 1/2 inch, totaling 1 inch. And I'm going to add another chalk line. Okay, now this bottom chalk line is my cut line. So now you can go ahead and cut that off and you can pin your pants together at the bottom, keep everything nice and even and cut through both layers, or you can turn the pants over and chalk again so that way you can cut all the way around in a circle. Either way usually works. It's really whatever is working for you. So if you were gonna chalk on this side again, we would measure down that 1 3/4 inches at one end, the 1 3/4 inches at the other end, and we are going to connect these lines. Now draw down 1 inch. And now we can go ahead and cut the bottom of the pant leg off right at that bottom 1 inch. So I'm going to snip into the pants and I'm going to work all the way around the pant leg. This one does look like it was a little uneven and I've evened it out through hemming. You can see how it was coming up here at that inseam. Or the outseam, I think that was the outseam. Okay, no going back now. We've cut off the bottom of our pants. Now that we do have the bottom cut off, we have one more line to draw just to make this really easy for you so you end up even. We're gonna draw 1/2 inch up from that line where we want our pants to be hemmed. Now that we have both of the marks, we can make our rolled hem. So jeans are finished with a rolled hem at the bottom. And what this means is that it's folded twice. So now we have the appropriate lines to get a perfect rolled hem. Let's head over to the ironing board. Now we're gonna iron up those folds. So I'm going to be using a sleeve board so that way I can fit my pant leg onto the end. If you don't have a sleeve board, you could use a rolled up towel or you can try and do it flat on your ironing board. But I really suggest getting something in here so that way you don't put additional creases in the pant leg. So our first fold is going to go to that first line that we drew. And you can iron that crease down. And our next fold is going to go to that next chalk line. I suggest ironing and then pinning. And then you're going to work your way all the way around the pant leg. So I've ironed it all the way around to flatten it out and get that perfect rolled hem at a 1/2 inch. Ironing it is really going to help your fabric stay in place. So you can see I have this ironed and pinned all the way around the bottom of the pant leg. Now we're going to be adding an edge stitch when we sew it down, which means we're going to be adding a stitch very close to this edge up here. So not the bottom of the pants, but the edge that's folded up towards the inside of the pants. So if we take a look at the original hem, they have that edge stitch right there. And you're gonna notice it doesn't look like a regular straight stitch in the back. That's because they've hemmed these with a chain stitch machine. Now, I know you probably don't have one of those laying around, so we're just gonna use a regular old straight stitch. And that's what it looks like on the outside. And I've got some different options and tips for you for getting over these really thick, bulky parts in the denim. Now, when you're choosing a thread, you can use a regular all-purpose thread, or you could buy a denim thread, which is going to be thicker and heavier. This is what is on your jeans currently, but regular thread works as well. You just want to make sure you're avoiding thread like silk or some lightweight cotton thread, because it's not going to hold well and it's going to snap. You can really tell if you just take the thread and just pull it in between your two hands, and if it snaps right away, it is way too light for your denim. So I have this denim thread here, and when I pull it, it does not snap. I can't break it even if I wanted to. When you're selecting a stitch for hemming, you want to make sure you're using a straight stitch for your denim, and you want to make a longer stitch length because our denim is thick. So I'm going to suggest a length of 3.5, but you should always test this out on a scrap of your fabric first to make sure your stitch looks great. You can just use the piece of denim that you cut off. Now, when we're sewing in a circle in a sewing machine, you could take off the back of your sewing machine so that way you can sew in a circle. And I'm going to suggest that you start at your inseam. So make sure you find the inseam of your pants. And for me, it is this really thick, bulky one with all of these stitches. Now, when I go to put my foot down, look at how much of an angle it's on. It is not gonna sew over that hump really nice. So what we need to do is figure out how to level out our foot. So you can use a hump jumper, which you're going to take and put behind the foot. And then when you put down your press your foot, you can see how it levels it out. It's gonna allow it to move forward really nice and easy. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can check out the link down below in the Amazon store and grab one, or you can use the chunk of the denim that you already cut off. Watch this. So we're gonna take it and we're just going to place a piece of it in the back of the foot here. And when we do that and we put it down, it also helps level out the foot. Now, not as much as the hump jumper, but this will definitely help you. You could also get some cardboard or some other fabric and just fold it up as much as you want, so that way you can get this foot to level out. So this here, just a little sewing hack. Use that scrap as your hump jumper. But since I do have a hump jumper, I'm going to be using my hump jumper today. Also, when you're hemming denim, you want to make sure that you have the proper needle in. So you want a really strong needle, probably size 18 or 20. I always like to take my hand wheel and pull it down first too, just to make sure it's going to go through that really thick fabric, okay? Whenever you need to, you can readjust your hump jumper. You just want to make sure it's not going to be under your needle. And we're adding an edge stitch here. So we want to make sure that we are getting the left fold of our fabric lined up with that edge stitch position. And I always like to go really slow over that thick fabric because I don't want to risk breaking a needle. And if you need to remove the hump jumper and reposition it, you totally can. Remove your pins before you get to them and continue. Now you'll notice I have my fold of the fabric lined up with that little right angle on my foot. So you need to choose your 1/8 of an inch edge stitch position on your foot. Now when you get to the next seam, it's also going to be bulky, but not as bulky as the one with the double top stitch. So again, you can use that scrap piece of fabric and place it right behind it. Use it as your hump jumper to help move through the machine. And you can just keep moving it as much as you need to. And when you get back to where you started on that thick fabric, don't forget, you can also use your hump jumper. Add a few back stitches. Oh, looks like I need a few more stitches forward. When you get back to where you started, you want to end in the existing stitches, overlap a few stitches, and then make sure you're adding your back stitches. And then we can take it out. So our pant leg is looking awesome, all hemmed up, very professional. But how do we make sure we're taking off the same amount on the other pant leg? Well, great news, you can use this little chunk that we already cut off as a template, basically as a pattern piece for how much to cut off. You can take it, place it on the bottom, chalk it out, and then that's the amount you cut off. And then you can redraw those lines if they were helpful for you when you were ironing. So you do the exact same thing to this side, just using this little piece as a template for how much to cut off. So I hemmed my other pant leg and my pants are now shorter. So you can see on the inside, your rolled hem looks like this with that little edge stitch. We went over that hump with those different methods, so easy, right? And then on the outside, you're going to end up with your straight stitch roughly a ½ inch up from the bottom. And now you have the knowledge to roll hem your jeans. Now you don't need to take them to the cleaners. You can be self-empowered and hem your own pants. If you have any questions on the process, leave it down below in the comments and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And if you have any special tips that you'd like to share about roll hemming jeans, you can leave those down below as well. If you enjoyed the video today, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new tutorials come out. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today. These videos are for you guys. So let me know what other kinds of alteration videos you would like to see. And if you want to learn more about sewing, well, make sure you check out my online and in-person classes here in Chicago. And if you want to know what's going on in the studio today, well, make sure you check out our Instagram stories. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye.